Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I am ItsKim. This is ItsKim Live. If you've never seen this show before, hi. I'm ItsKim. I talk about pop culture topics. I love celebrity news and entertainment, and I love to dig into those stories, especially when it has a legal angle or anything like that. And I like to go below the headlines, deep into context. That is what we do here. And if you've never seen this show before, here's how it normally works. First, we go through the main topic. That's what's in your thumbnail. That's what's in the title. That's probably why you clicked on the video. After that, we have a halftime where I communicate with my beautiful community of space angels who are all coming into this live stream right now. Thank you guys all for being here. It is so good to see you all. After that, we usually have a palate cleanser section where we look at something funny from around the internet that I haven't seen. It's made courtesy of my co-pilot and my co-host, who you can't see, but she is here, producer sister. And we do have one of those prepared today, but as I'm sure you have clicked on this video, you may have an idea of what we're getting into today. And I want to be very clear about something. If you are watching on the replay and you want to skip me talking, there will be timestamps. You can just click. There should be in the description. They should be on the bar at the bottom of this video. And you can just skip over me talking if it's annoying you, and I'm sorry. But I do have to give a few disclaimers before we begin. Yesterday, a new lawsuit was filed against Sean Combs, otherwise known as Diddy. We have many names for him. And it is from Don Richard, who is a member, or was a member, of Danity Kane, which was a band that Diddy put together. I have read through this lawsuit. I got the documents this morning. Thank you so much to my friend John Witherspoon who got that for me. I'm going to make sure I get your links and I share those in the stream today because I would not have been able to do this without you. Thank you so much. And thank you to my popcorn family for opening up that door for me. It's bad. Guys, it's heavy. And because of that, I have to be very careful with what I say. I'm going to do my best to follow the community guidelines, which means we cannot start talking about this specific topic until we're about at least 7 to 8 minutes into this stream. So there's going to be a little bit of stalling before we get into it. And I hope you guys understand why I am doing that and know that it's not because I'm trying to, be annoying. It's just, it is what it is. So, producer sister, how are you today?
I'm okay.
You're good?
Plugging along.
Oh yeah. It's a day. It's a day already. I did also want to say thank you so much right off the bat to General Scott, Heather, and Brittany, who have all sent me PayPals. It's so kind of you all. Thank you so much for your support for this channel, as well as General Scott that just gifted 5 memberships right off the bat. You guys are incredible. Thank you. And so before we get into the main topic, which is what the thumbnail is, I do have a quick update to a story we have talked about previously that I think you guys might care about. So we're going to do the disclaimers, we're going to do that story, and then we're going to dive into the Diddy stuff. So this stream will include speculation and opinion and should not be taken as fact. Always do your own research. Links to my sources are in the description. There is a document in there that has all of my links that help me form my opinions. Included in today's section is the lawsuit, if you wish to go and get it for yourself. I don't have a free link for it at this time, but it's there. You can see the filing. As well, hello YouTube human reviewer, hi. We have tried to ensure that this video is appropriate to your community guidelines because we care about this platform and we'd like to stay on it. However, I do feel that sometimes topics like what we're going to be talking about today are important, and sometimes censoring it can actually hurt. It can hurt survivors, and I'm not cool with that. I don't like that. So we're going to do our best to be appropriate. We're going to wait the time frame, and I'm going to try to censor my language to the best of my ability. We're trying to do right by this platform. And viewers, please do not send hate to anyone, famous or not. It's not cute. We're all entitled to our own opinions, but do not do anything that would cause harm to people. I do not support hate in any kind. Okay? And Sean Combs, to be clear, is innocent until proven guilty. At this time, he has not been charged since the raid, since the Cassie lawsuit, all of that stuff. What we're going to get into today is allegations. They have not been proven in court at this time. And he is maintaining his innocence at this time. The update story that we have here, just to, get through the time frame here that we need to. Justin Timberlake took a plea deal. Guys, for his DUI or his DWI. Justin Timberlake just sealed a plea deal as of today, hammering on an agreement that does not involve drunk driving or even a criminal offense. It has now been copped at a traffic violation. Oh, yeah. So the singer's lawyer and prosecutors just got the judge in the DWI case to sign off on the deal. The DWI charge is officially dropped, and Justin will cop to driving while ability impaired is now the judge. That's the charge. It's according to sources with direct knowledge. That's what we're dealing with now. There we are. So basically, he's getting a slap on the wrist, guys. That's happening. That's happened. And yeah, I'm a little frustrated by it. I don't really want to get super into it because I know that's not the main reason why we're here, and we're going to get into the main topic very shortly. I feel like driving while intoxicated is a very serious charge, and it should be taken seriously. I look at him and I do not believe that he was sober driving that vehicle. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. That's my speculation. But yes, that's where we are. Yep, and Justin Timberlake is getting away with something again. So there we go. Okay, we've just passed the 8-minute mark, so we're going to move into the Diddy stuff. Okay, there is a document that is pinned at the top of our chat for support. This is your trigger warning. This is your main, and I'm just gonna. This is it. I'm not gonna do trigger warnings from this point forward because it's all bad. Okay, it's all bad. It's all bad. Okay. So what we're going to do is go through the TMZ article, then we're going to get into the full doc. So if you have questions about whether or not you want to sit through the full legal documents, the TMZ article should hopefully answer that for you. So the case we've got here is Don Richard, who is from Danity Kane, which was a band that Diddy put together through the show Making the Band back in the day. So this is who we are talking about. I believe she has publicly supported Cassie, and another member of Danity Kane, Aubrey O'Day, we've talked about a number of times, and she has been very open about her support of the survivors of Diddy as well. So Diddy has been sued for monstrous behavior, allegations of SA, and many other things. This was the exclusive, according to TMZ as of this morning. Diddy is facing yet another lawsuit from a new accuser, a former bandmate who claims the music mogul belittled, terrorized, and SA'd her, while she also witnessed him savagely hurt his ex, Cassie. According to the suit obtained by TMZ, Don Richard said she got caught in Diddy's web as a participant in his 2004 show Making the Band, with the Bad Boy CEO manipulating her by promising to advance her singing career if she relented to his alleged twisted demands. The former Danity Kane member said during on-set auditions, Diddy called female contestants fat, ugly, B words, and H words. She said Diddy had a particular disdain for her because she was young and excited to work with such a famous person. In 2005, the court documents say Richard saw another of Diddy's former girlfriends, Kim Porter, who is now deceased, crying as she left a music studio with her face all banged up. It was then, Richard says, she realized Diddy was capable of violence and her life could be in danger. A year later, Richard was present when Diddy was first introduced to Cassie, invading her space while transfixed on her in a predatory fashion, according to the docs. In 2009, she says she personally witnessed Diddy, high on substances, throw Cassie against a wall, choke her, and drag her up a flight of stairs in his LA home. Richard said Diddy also hurled a scalding pan of eggs at Cassie while yelling, "I've been asking you for my ish. I can't stand you, B. You never do anything right." And on any other occasions, Richard says Diddy hurt Cassie in the way of strangulation. At some point, Richard says she and others, including Diddy, Dirty Money bandmate Kalina Harper, showed their support to Cassie and advised her to leave Diddy, who found out about the conversation and threatened, "Y'all B, don't get in my relationship," adding, "Don't tell my B," or Cassie, "what she needs to be doing. Just make money and shut the F up. I end artists. I shelve careers. You could be missing. You Bs want to die today?" Meanwhile, Richard says she too became a victim of Diddy's forcing her to rehearse 48 hours at a time without sleep. As a result, she says she dropped a lot of weight and became dehydrated and fatigued while suffering awful rashes. She says one time Diddy demanded she come to his Miami home where he was only wearing underwear. She asked him to put on clothes. Diddy refused, screaming, "This is my effing house." Diddy's treatment of Richard got worse when she says between 2009 and 2011. Richard said Diddy once barged into her dressing room while she was undressed at his recording studio. She says Diddy inappropriately touched her. Diddy, she says, also locked her in a car with heavily tinted windows for 2 hours as she screamed for help, even calling her dad for help. Richard claims her dad traveled from Baltimore to New York to free his daughter and confront Diddy, threatening to report him to the police. But she says Diddy told her dad, "Think about your daughter and think about your daughter's career." And Diddy's reps at this time have not responded to TMZ's article. So that's a taste of what we're getting into here. So that's why I say if this is going to be a lot for you, if it's going to be too much, there is no judgment here whatsoever. I know we have a lot of survivors in my community, but for me, in my own story, having these opportunities where I get to amplify a survivor's voice is important. And I hope that I can be a part of the conversation that is constructive here. And I think this is worth going through. So off we go. I will say if you would like to support me today in any capacity, like, gifts or whatever, I will absolutely get to them. I'm going to be distracted while I read this document. I have to stay focused. I do not mean it as a sign of disrespect whatsoever to any of you. And let's get going. Let's do this. Okay. So again, thank you so much to John Witherspoon. Very much appreciate you, sir. So here is the case. Again, United States District Court, Southern District of New York. This is where a lot of these cases are coming from. And there's Don Richard, complaint, jury trial demand. And we've got Sean Combs, who we know is Diddy. Then we've got Harve Pierre, who also was a higher up at Bad Boy Entertainment. And then all of these companies. And a lot of, like, does and stuff. There's a lot here. There is a lot here. So, here is the lawsuit. Here's the preliminary statement. Dawn Angelique Richard, known professionally as Dawn Richard, is an American musician, singer, songwriter, and performer. She gained widespread recognition as a member of the girl group Danity Kane, formed by defendant Sean Combs, Mr. Combs, and then later transitioned into a key member of Mr. Combs' band, Diddy Dirty Money. Defendant Sean Combs, a once celebrated hip-hop mogul, popularly known by his stage names, oh gosh, I gotta bite my tongue here. Puff Diddy, Puff Daddy, Puffy, P. Diddy, Diddy, or Love. There's also Brother Love, and as we call him here, Sean John Jacob Jingle Heimer Schmidt, because there's too many names. Skyrocketed to fame in the late 1990s and became a powerful and enduring figure in the music and entertainment industry. In 1998, Mr. Combs explained the origins of his stage name in a USA Today interview. His nickname was Puff because he had a temper and was known to huff and puff when he was angry. Again, this name is the weirdest flex I've ever heard. Over the decades following his rise to fame, Mr. Combs' star-studded, larger-than-life persona was overshadowed by his vicious temper and pervasive acts of violence directed towards those in his inner circle, specifically women. Mr. Combs' namesake temper frequently manifested in physical violence. Mr. Combs regularly hurled objects in fits of rage, often throwing items such as mobile phones, laptops, food, and studio equipment across the room or at people. On numerous occasions, Ms. Richard witnessed Mr. Combs brutally beat his then girlfriend, Ms. Cassie Ventura. His persistent abuse included choking and strangling Ms. Ventura, striking her with his hands, with objects, slapping her, punching her, throwing items at her, including a scalding hot pan. On many occasions, Ms. Richard tried to intervene, offering Ms. Ventura support and encouragement to leave Mr. Combs. Each time Mr. Combs learned of her efforts to help Ms. Ventura and became enraged, threatening Ms. Richards' life with statements such as, "You want to die today? I make N words go missing, and I end people." Compounding Mr. Combs' violent acts and death threats, he flagrantly exploited Ms. Richards' musical talent as a singer and writer while withholding her rightful earnings, stealing her copyrighted works, and subjecting her to years of inhumane working conditions, which included groping, assault, false imprisonment, among other violations. For nearly a decade, Mr. Combs manipulated Ms. Richards with mantras that submission to his depraved demands was necessary for career advancement, instilling in her the belief that such abuse and exploitation were required for female artists to succeed in the music industry. It was not until Ms. Ventura's bravery in coming forward that Ms. Richards realized her own personal suffering was tied to many years of abuse by Mr. Combs that had become normalized for her. As more women courageously come forward, Plaintiff has been empowered by this collective strength and now adds her voice to the growing chorus of victims, bravely sharing their harrowing stories. Together, they seek justice and stand in solidarity as the latest victims of the #MeToo movement in the music industry. I just want to say thank you guys so much in the chat for being so nice and so kind to each other. I'm really happy to see it. Please continue it. It's so, all of this is so disturbing. Okay, so this just goes over the parties that are involved. So just saying who Dawn is, that she was employed by Bad Boy Entertainment and these companies, who Sean Combs is, who Mr. Pierre is as well, and we've talked about that previously on this channel. Defendants Remote Productions, we got a production company, all these other companies, and this is kind of what's defining that big block at the beginning of the lawsuit. So we're not going to read through all of this because it's who people are. But we got like Epic Records here, Love Records, all that stuff. Jurisdiction, and then we get into the allegations. So here we go. I'm just going to double check one thing quickly. All right. Just okay. All right. Let's go. Factual allegations. Ms. Richards is selected to be in Mr. Combs' all-female musical group, Danity Kane, after competing on MTV's Making the Band. In or around 2004, Ms. Richards was selected to participate in Season 3 of MTV Network's reality show Making the Band. The show centered around the formation and development of the new musical group under the mentorship of Mr. Combs. The contestants would compete and would be chosen by Mr. Combs to form a band, which would go on to create albums and perform. Let me know in the chat if you remember this band. You may have heard the songs Showstopper, Damaged. It's this group. For aspiring artists like Ms. Richard, Making the Band represented a concrete path to a career in the entertainment industry. Ms. Richards appeared in Season 3 and 4 of Making the Band, which first aired in 2005, and Season 5 of Making His Band, which aired in 2009. Out of the thousands of contestants, Ms. Richard, along with approximately 12 other women, were selected to participate in Season 3 of Making the Band. 5 women, including Ms. Richards, were ultimately chosen to be in the group Danity Kane, which was named by Ms. Richard. Prior to and including the first Danity Kane album, Making the Band was filmed entirely at Daddy's House Recording Studio at 3120 West 44th Street, New York, New York. The Making the Band content that focused on Danity Kane's work on its second album, Welcome to the Dollhouse, was filmed at Daddy's house and at Mr. Combs' Miami residence. Other Making the Band episodes included Los Angeles as a third filming location. Upon information and belief to create Making the Band, camera crews filmed 24 hours a day, gathering months' worth of footage to condense into mere hours of entertainment for viewers. Danity Kane released its first self-titled album in August of 2006 and second album, Welcome to the Dollhouse, in March of 2008. Danity Kane's first album sold over 4 million copies. Damages to Ms. Richard for the unpaid salaries are estimated at $1 million. Danity Kane's second album, Welcome to the Dollhouse, sold over 2 million copies, and damages to Ms. Richards for unpaid salaries and royalties are estimated at $500,000. Damages on unpaid wages for touring on over 100 dates for Ms. Richards with Danity Kane is estimated at $1.8 million. Mr. Combs fired bandmate Aubrey O'Day and Juanita D. Woods would get from Danity Kane on live television at the height of his fame in 2008, which resulted in Danity Kane being disbanded in 2009, which was brutal. It was brutal. Ms. Richard first encounters Mr. Combs' aggressive and intimidating behavior and animus towards women. During the auditions and on the set of making the band, Mr. Combs projected an aura of superiority, wealth, and power. Mr. Combs regularly wore sunglasses and avoided looking at female contestants in the eyes, contributing to an atmosphere of uncertainty and intimidation. During auditions, Mr. Combs spoke to the female contestants in a hostile, condescending manner, making disparaging gender-based remarks such as calling them fat, ugly, B-words, and hoes. Miss Richard felt threatened and intimidated by Mr. Combs' blatant disdain for young women, like herself, who were excited for the opportunity to be on his show. Once the band was made, Mr. Combs' contempt for women was readily apparent, as he continued to display aggressive and hostile behavior towards Ms. Richards and her all-female Danity Kane bandmates. Mr. Combs regularly referred to these 5 women as B's and H's and deintegrated their physical appearances. By way of example, Mr. Combs stated that Ms. Richard was too skinny and needed to do something about this, as in her face. That's nice. That's very nice. On one occasion, around 2005, during the first season of Making the Band 3, Ms. Richard observed Mr. Combs' ex-partner and the mother of his 3 children, Kim Porter, leaving Mr. Combs' recording studio in tears with visible facial injuries, including a lacerated lip. Realizing that Mr. Combs was capable of committing acts of violence against women caused Ms. Richard to feel deep apprehension and fear that Mr. Combs could one day physically harm her. Ms. Richard was present when Mr. Combs was introduced to Cassandra or Cassie Ventura for the first time, in or around 2006. The moment Mr. Combs first saw Ms. Ventura, his demeanor noticeably shifted. Mr. Combs positioned himself directly in front of Ms. Ventura's seat, invading her personal space, and fixated on her with an intense, unyielding stare, isolating her from the other people in the room, including Ms. Ventura's then-boyfriend, music producer Ryan Leslie. That doesn't surprise me at all. You guys let me know in the chat you guys are doing okay? And yes, Melia, yes, he did. He fired them live. It was brutal. It was crazy. Coincidentally, the first meeting between Mr. Combs and Ms. Ventura was the first time that Ms. Richards was in Mr. Combs' presence without a camera crew filming. Observing that Mr. Combs would behave in such an intimidating, predatory manner the first time that they were off camera made Ms. Richards feel deeply apprehensive and afraid of him. Subsequently, Ms. Ventura ended her relationship with Mr. Leslie and began dating Mr. Combs, who would become violent and abusive towards her. So here we go. Danity Kane. SH, inhumane treatment and denial of basic needs by Mr. Combs. For the majority of Ms. Richards' tenure as a member of Danity Kane and Diddy Dirty Money, Mr. Combs required her to remain at his various residences and studios in New York, Los Angeles, Florida, and New Jersey for activities such as recording, rehearsing, dressing, preparing costumes, and exercising. Throughout the productions of Making the Band 3 and 4, Mr. Combs deprived Ms. Richards and her Danity Kane bandmates of basic needs such as adequate food and sleep. When Ms. Richards or her Danity Kane bandmates requested meals or rest, Mr. Combs refused and chastised them with derogatory comments like, "You bees don't want this," or "Y'all aren't hungry enough," and "I'm paying you bees to work." This demeaning behavior gradually undermined Ms. Richards' confidence and contributed significantly to her growing feelings of insecurity and fear of reprisal from Mr. Combs. Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs would regularly be awake for prolonged periods of time because he was on substances. During these periods, Mr. Combs demanded continuous access to Ms. Richard and her Danity Kane bandmates, often forcing them to record and rehearse for stretches of 36 to 48 hours without breaks, which is insane. Forced to choose between eating and sleeping, Ms. Richards lost a significant amount of weight, weighing approximately only 100 pounds at the height of 5'4". Ms. Richards began to normalize these extreme conditions and perceive them as standard requirements for her participation in Danity Kane. Mr. Combs regularly sent his associates to wake Ms. Richard and her Danity Kane bandmates in the overnight hours so he could watch them rehearse. The regularity of these disturbances led to Ms. Richards to adapt by sleeping in a sitting position, fully dressed with makeup on, heightening her anxiety. Over time, this abnormal sleeping arrangement came to feel routine, further normalizing Mr. Combs' invasive demands. That was nuts to me. This is nowhere near like the most severe accusation in this document, but that's kind of scary. I don't like that. Producer sister, sitting, sleeping. That's.
I mean, we all have moments in our lives where that happens.
Yeah.
I can think of example like on a plane or in a hospital waiting room, like those kind of things. But that should never be your norm.
No.
That's crazy.
And just for somebody to wake up and go, I want to watch you rehearse now, go. Like,
that's
ew.
Creepy.
Ew. In addition to these exhausting rehearsals, Mr. Combs required Ms. Richard and her bandmates to participate in intense workouts with a personal trainer. On one occasion, while running on the beach, Ms. Richard became so dehydrated that she vomited. Instead of offering medical assistance, MTV Network's camera crews filmed the incident, contributing to her acceptance of such treatment as part of her professional life. The unrelenting and rigorous schedule of rehearsals, performance, and near constant filming that Mr. Combs imposed caused Ms. Richard to experience extreme weight loss, dehydration, fatigue, and painful rashes from her microphone pack that she was required to wear on her back. I feel like there's a way they could have done something about that. These conditions intensified Ms. Richards' feelings of powerlessness as she increasingly viewed them as part of her professional reality and feared the consequences of any resistance. In a further assertion of power and dominance, Mr. Combs insisted on holding meetings while dressed only in his underwear. On one occasion, in 2008, at his Miami residence, Mr. Combs emailed Ms. Richards directing her to meet him in the living room. When she arrived, he was only wearing his underwear. Ms. Richard asked Mr. Combs to put some clothes on, but he refused, stating, "This is my effing house." Then Mr. Combs conducted a meeting lasting approximately an hour while dressed in his underwear, causing Ms. Richards to feel violated and embarrassed, and amplifying her feelings of powerlessness. Following the official Danity Kane breakup in early of 2009, effectuated by Mr. Combs, Ms. Richard experienced significant financial hardship. With no prospective opportunities for employment within the entertainment field, Ms. Richard spent several months traveling from Baltimore to Daddy's House recording studios in New York without pay or allocated budget. Mr. Combs promised that Ms. Richard's compositions would result in payment of licensing fees and royalties, pursuant to her contract with Bad Boy Records. However, no such compensation was ever reported or paid to Ms. Richard. Damages relative to those continuing copyright infringements will be proved at trial. I like that. That she has receipts. She's got receipts on that one. So Diddy Dirty Money, Ms. Richards' experiences, Mr. Combs' gender-based physical violence, criminal acts, SA, threats, and intimidation. By approximately the fall of 2009, many of Ms. Richards' compositions had been recorded by other Bad Boy Records artists. Due to the success of her compositions, Ms. Richard was invited to meet with musical artist Kalina Harper, or Ms. Harper from here on out, and shortly thereafter, Mr. Combs, Ms. Richards, and Ms. Harper formed a new group, Diddy Dirty Money. Initially recording for Diddy Dirty Money's last album, Last Train to Paris, took place in Mr. Combs' home in Los Angeles. On the first day of recording, Ms. Richard and Ms. Harper arrived at Mr. Combs' home and waited in the kitchen, where Mr. Combs' girlfriend, Ms. Ventura, was frying eggs for him. Ms. Richard observed Mr. Combs come down the stairs looking high on substances, enter the kitchen, and approach Ms. Ventura and scream, "I've been asking you for my ish. I can't stand you, B. You never do it right." Mr. Combs pushed Ms. Ventura against the wall and choked her, then picked up the scalding hot pan of eggs and threw it at her, causing her to fall on the ground in a fetal position. Cursing and screaming, Mr. Combs dragged Ms. Ventura up the stairs. Frozen in shock and terror, Ms. Richards heard glass shattering, crashing, and banging noises as Mr. Combs dragged Ms. Ventura up the stairs. Ms. Richards wanted to intervene and help Ms. Ventura, but Ms. Harper adamantly refused to interfere with Mr. Combs's relationship and physically led Ms. Richard out of the residence. Terrified and shaken, Ms. Richard returned to her hotel, where she was unable to sleep due to worrying about Miss Ventura and her own safety. The following day, Ms. Richard received a call demanding that she return to Mr. Combs's residence to continue recording. Mr. Combs brought Ms. Richards and Miss Harper into the recording room at his studio, locked the door, dimmed the lights, and gave each of them flowers. This is demented. Just all of this. Mr. Combs went on at length, stating, "This is normal. This is just a lover's argument where no one was hurt. This is what love is. I'm giving you an opportunity. If you want to make it, you'll shut your mouth. If you say anything, there will be consequences." Mr. Combs further warned that people end up missing. Being threatened while locked for over 20 minutes in a small enclosed space with Mr. Combs after observing Mr. Combs violently assault Cassie the day before, Ms. Richard was terrified and genuinely believed that Mr. Combs would follow through on his threats. That is a level of gaslighting and manipulation. That's so scary. That right there. It's chilling. Absolutely chilling. On brand, though, from what we've heard about Diddy up until this point. Producer sister, you know what I'm saying? Like
That's what makes it more chilling and scary, is
it's completely believable at this point based on what we've heard.
Based on everything else, it fits with other dialogues we've heard, and when you throw in the added layer of the tape that got released with him and Cassie,
100% I believe this.
Completely.
Yeah.
And for me, when he talks about people go missing or things happen, that just gets layered in with all the people who aren't here to speak for themselves anymore.
Yep, I would like to see an investigation into Ms. Porter.
Yeah, and we don't know anything.
My speculation.
It's complete speculation, but it's a lot to be nothing.
Yeah. Okay, we do have to interject some commentary from time to time, guys, just for fair use purposes, but let's continue. In or around November of 2009, after the Soul Train Awards in Atlanta, Georgia, Mr. Combs flew Ms. Richard and Ms. Harper to his house in New York on a private jet for an after-party. There were many well-known celebrities at the after-party, and copious amounts of substances were being openly consumed. Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs had arranged for dozens of young women and girls, some of whom appeared to be underage, to be transported to the party. The women arrived wearing little to no clothing and were given substances and alcohol. Many of them appeared lethargic or passed out, while Mr. Combs and his guests performed adult acts on them. Ms. Richard believed that her presence at the party was a test to see whether Mr. Combs could trust her. Now, I want to, with this one right here, obviously this is horrible. This is terrible. And this right here, I think, is why, partially, in my opinion, we have a Homeland Security case here. Because if some of these girls are underage, if there's other stuff going on, that no bueno, not good, not good, not good, illegal, bad. And there have been other people who have alleged that he has been involved in what we call on this channel many, many cars, because we're trying to be respectful to the community guidelines. But this last part here of Ms. Richard believed that her presence at the party was a test to see whether Mr. Combs could trust her. This, to me, is very telling. Because we have some people that have been like, oh yeah, Diddy parties are, oh gosh. And then we've had other people that have gone to the parties and go, I didn't see anything like that. I don't believe Mr. Combs let everybody see the monster. But he knew that Dawn, this is my opinion, Dawn was in a situation where she was essentially powerless. Right? Like, she couldn't get away from it. She was stuck. So he could manipulate her then at that point. No, Houston, I mean, I'm not saying that that's the purpose of Homeland Security. I'm saying that the HSI investigation has been widened to include investigations of many, many cars. That's what I mean. because that's part of what's going on with the grand jury and everything else out of the Southern District. That's what I mean. Okay. Mr. Combs repeatedly said things like, "This is a buffet. Enjoy yourselves. This is what we do. This is how we party." I feel sick saying that.
That's gross.
It's disgusting.
Sorry. Ugh.
Ms. Richard felt shocked and horrified at the sight of Mr. Combs and his guest violating incapacitated young women, and implored Mr. Combs' personal assistant, Capricorn Clark, to allow her to leave. Ms. Clark insisted that Ms. Richards wait 15 minutes for Ms. Clark to make it make sense. That is, to make Ms. Richards' exit less conspicuous so that Mr. Combs would not notice that she had left. Knowing that she was not free to leave and had to wait for Ms. Clark to help her orchestrate her departure, Ms. Richard experienced feelings of panic and being trapped against her will. Mr. Combs regularly placed Ms. Richards in similar situations with no means of escape. At Mr. Combs's substance-fueled parties, his guests, including Ms. Richard, were required to surrender their phones upon entry. Mr. Combs kept the doors locked and guarded by security personnel, making it impossible for Ms. Richards to leave without alerting Mr. Combs that she had done so. Mr. Combs hired police officers to attend his parties, sending a clear message to guests that his influence extended to law enforcement officers and creating a climate of fear, a tactic warning that reporting him to the authorities would be both unacceptable and futile. That is terrifying. I don't even know what to say to that. Shame, first of all. Shame on those police officers. Disgusting. Disgusting. On many occasions, Mr. Combs had parties at his Miami, Florida residence that lasted for several days. At one of the parties, Ms. Richards witnessed Mr. Combs openly stating that he had arranged for a busload of young exotic girls, such as mixed black and Asian, Indonesian, and albino. Once again, Ms. Richards observed inebriated young girls being violated by Mr. Combs and his guests. In a panic state of terror, Ms. Richard fled to the bedroom Mr. Combs had insisted she stay in and barricaded the door shut with furniture. Yeah, Star Sorcerer, yep, you're right. I don't think I've seen you before. Hi, welcome. Just that this is why he's still walking around. So many people are connected. That's why the big fish had to come out, in my opinion. Mr. Combs openly assaulted Ms. Ventura in front of Ms. Richard and other witnesses on multiple occasions. On one occasion, or around the fall of 2009, Diddy Dirty Money was in New York preparing to perform at a festival. Inside their vehicle, Mr. Combs grabbed Ms. Ventura's neck, pulled her out of the van onto the grass, and pinned her head down, choking her while yelling, "You're gonna get effed up today." The incident took place in a backstage area just outside the festival and was entirely visible to passersby. In another instance, in or around 2010, Mr. Combs punched Ms. Ventura in the face in a bathroom of a party in Los Angeles. Frequently, when Ms. Ventura attempted to voice an opinion or stand up to Combs, he would strike her or wrap his hands around her throat and choke her. I cannot. On the first of several occasions that they observed Mr. Combs assault Ms. Ventura, Ms. Richard and Ms. Harper spoke with Ms. Ventura to support and encourage Ms. Ventura in escaping her abusive relationship with Mr. Combs. Every time that Ms. Richard and Ms. Harper tried to intervene, Mr. Combs learned of the conversation and became irate. Mr. Combs screamed at the women, "Y'all bees don't get in my relationship. Don't tell my bee, Ms. Ventura, what she needs to be doing. Just make money and shut the F up. I end artists. I shelve careers you could be missing, and you bees want to die today," among other threats. How you doing, producer sister?
Hi.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is what I mean. Like, the TMZ article explains some of it, doesn't get into all of it. This is a lot. We are on page 15 of 55 of this lawsuit, everyone. This is insane. This whole thing. This whole lawsuit. Okay. Interscope Records enabled Mr. Combs' gender-motivated violence. Yeah, this is fun. In or around late 2009 or early 2010, Bad Boy Entertainment entered an agreement with Interscope Geffen Naaman Records, or Interscope. Upon information and belief, Bad Boy was paid $50 million in exchange for Bad Boy's future releases being distributed through Interscope. In doing so, Mr. Combs intended to capitalize on Interscope's significant resources and enhance promotion and sales of Bad Boy releases, including Diddy Dirty Money's upcoming album. In the weeks and months leading up to the Bad Boy Interscope deal, Mr. Combs had frequent meetings with producer, then CEO of Interscope Records, Jimmy Iovine. Hi, Jimmy. On one such occasion, Combs hosted a dinner at a West Hollywood, California restaurant, which Ms. Richard and Ms. Harper were required to attend. Among the guests at the dinner were celebrities like Neo and Usher, as well as Mr. Iovine. At the dinner, Mr. Combs and Ms. Ventura had an argument. In front of the dinner guests, Mr. Combs hissed at Ventura in a screaming whisper and forcefully punched her in the stomach, causing her to double over in visible pain, crying. Ms. Clark escorted Ms. Ventura out of the restaurant, and Mr. Combs remained and continued socializing with the dinner guests. At this point, Interscope Records had actual knowledge that Mr. Combs was dangerous around females and that Combs was willing to brazenly batter a female in public. Interscope, if this is true, and I believe it's true, like, I'm looking at all y'all. That's demented. In public? At a party? With other people in the industry? Neo? Usher? You both saw this? And I mean, the thing is, I get it. Like, Dawn has been terrified to speak. I'm guessing they are too.
Yeah.
But this is crazy. Even after Mr. Iovine watched Mr. Combs commit a violent assault in front of numerous high-profile witnesses, the Bad Boy Interscope deal took place and remained in effect, providing Mr. Combs with immense financial rewards and enabling him to commit further acts of violence without fear of repercussions. Watching Mr. Combs openly assault Miss Ventura in front of Mr. Iovine and various celebrities, observing the other powerful music industry representatives were complicit in Mr. Combs' behavior, amplified Ms. Richards' fears that Mr. Combs could one day harm her and his actions would be accepted and normalized by everyone around him. As a part of the agreement between Bad Boy and Interscope, Interscope heavily promoted Diddy Dirty Money's Last Train to Paris album. Mr. Iovine had presented Mr. Combs with a demo of Coming Home for him to produce, a song that would become a multi-platinum hit. Mr. Iovine was encouraging to Combs to develop a new song for the album, into which Interscope was investing significant resources. Ms. Richards, Ms. Harper, and Ms. Ventura all provided vocals for the project. Released in November of 2010, the album The Last Train to Paris became Diddy Dirty Money's most commercially successful project, providing vast financial rewards to both Interscope and Mr. Combs. Yeah, I'm watching you guys in the chat. I know. It's... Gordon just asked, how many lawsuits must come out against this ninja before he gets arrested? I mean, honestly, I don't know. I think a lot of it has to depend on what is going on with Homeland Security. What I will say is I have heard many rumors that, like this one, there are other civil cases that are coming. And that some of the people involved in the civil cases have been approached by the feds. That has been the rumor on the street. I cannot confirm that. That is what I have heard. That is my speculation. So I don't know what is going on. But I'm wondering, part of the thing here as I'm looking at a lot of these accusations is how many of these are actually something that could be prosecuted criminally. And the problem is we've got a lot of things here that ultimately could come down to he said, she said. Also potentially past the statute of limitations. So I understand Dawn, part of this lawsuit is her sticking up for herself and saying, no, I worked for you for a really long time. I made you so much money. You owe me my money. And also, I'm going to expose all of these terrible things that you've done. Right? Like it's a twofold. There's two parts of this. So I get it with Dawn, right?
Some of this may be therapeutic for her as well, that she
Yeah.
needs to have her voice back.
And I think some of it too is also her. There's so much in here about Cassie,
Yeah.
right? Is validating Cassie.
Yeah.
And saying she didn't lie. I saw it. And I'll state it publicly. I'll state it in court. And I give her props for that. Oh gosh. Yeah. Okay. So, next one. Next point. Diddy Dirty Money. Mr. Combs subjects Ms. Richard to labor, many, many cars, and oppressive working conditions. In or around fall of 2009, Diddy Dirty Money began recording the song Love Comes Down. Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs continued to use substances that caused him to remain awake for prolonged periods of time. Oh, sorry, I just saw... Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Okay. Okay, thank you to anything that has come in. I will absolutely acknowledge any of the special posts through the chat when we're through this. Thank you so much, everybody. Okay. In and around the fall of 2009, Diddy Dirty Money began recording the song Love Comes Down. Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs continued to use substances that caused him to remain awake for prolonged periods of time. When he was awake, he would demand that Ms. Richard and Ms. Harper record in studio, where they would spend 3 to 4 consecutive days recording without break to eat or sleep.
How do you do that?
I don't know. I just think vocally, how do you do that?
And quality.
Oh.
At some point, when you haven't taken care of your basic human needs, the quality of anything you're recording is going to go out the window.
Absolute
garbage. It has to, right? Like, I don't see how it couldn't.
Mr. Combs required Ms. Richard and Ms. Harper to remain at his homes continuously, denying the opportunity to return to their hotel rooms for breaks. The degree of control Mr. Combs exercised over Ms. Richard's daily life and basic needs exacerbated the significant power imbalance and threatening atmosphere that ensured Ms. Richard's compliance with his demands. Mr. Combs regularly left the studio and required Ms. Richard and Ms. Harper to stay and write verses to songs. Occasionally, Ms. Richards would try to leave and get something to eat or go to her hotel. Whenever Ms. Richard tried to leave, Mr. Combs would call and demand, "Where the F are you?" and "We have an album to make." Mr. Combs frequently made threats, especially if they asked for food or rest, stating, "You're a B. I don't want to see your effing face. I make N-words go missing. I make things go away." Each time, Ms. Richards returned to the studio immediately, believing that Mr. Combs was capable of following through with his threats. Mr. Combs criticized Ms. Richards for being too skinny, yet denied her requests for food and demanded that she drink only peanut butter shakes.
That's gonna get old.
Oh gosh. Mr. Combs had full meals prepared by a chef and ate them in front of Ms. Richards and Ms. Harper, never offering them food.
Oh my gosh.
Ms. Richards and Ms. Harper begged for food and rest breaks, but Mr. Combs refused, making statements such as, "Absolutely effing not," and "This is what it takes to be great," as he sat there with his chef meals.
And when you're trying to get them to write songs for you and all that, they're going to be doing their absolute best work on an empty stomach.
It's disgusting. Ugh. Right? Mr. Combs' responses underscored the threat that he posed and heightened Ms. Richards' concerns for her safety and well-being. We're on page 18 of 55, guys. Ms. Richards continued to work nonstop, transitioning between the studio, rehearsals, workouts, and back to the studio. She became severely dehydrated and experienced chronic stomach cramping from being undernourished and excessively thin. On numerous occasions, she told Mr. Combs that she was not feeling well. He called her lazy and dismissed her health concerns, instilling in her further apprehension of communicating her needs. In and around summer of 2010, Ms. Richards experienced abdominal pain, swollen glands, and a fever. She was hospitalized and diagnosed with I don't know what that is. I think it's It's joints. It's considered joint pain due to overuse, sprain, tendonitis, and infections, anemia, and a low white blood cell count. Ms. Richard presented Mr. Combs with her medical record specifying that she needed to emphasize eating well and being adequately hydrated and getting adequate rest. But Mr. Combs ordered her to report to the studio the next day for another multi-day recording session. Mr. Combs' blatant disregard for her health and well-being cemented Ms. Richards' fear of his authority and control over her career and life and health. Oh, gosh. That's terrifying. Ms. Richard continued to witness Mr. Combs's abuse towards Miss Ventura. Ms. Ventura often wore sunglasses and makeup in an attempt to hide visible injuries. These incidents further solidified Ms. Richards' fear of Mr. Combs, as they were constant reminders of the physical dangers she could potentially and would eventually face. Mr. Combs often exhibited uncontrollable anger during recording sessions, throwing objects like albums, laptops, and food against the wall or at individuals. Mr. Combs frequently flew into a frenzied, unpredictable rages. Ms. Richard feared making any misstep that could direct his anger toward her. However, her fears went beyond her immediate physical safety. Because she had witnessed Mr. Combs' violent nature, a side of Mr. Combs that the world had not yet seen, she feared that falling out of Mr. Combs' good graces, or worse, standing up to him or speaking out against him, could result in serious harm to her. Ms. Richard frequently thought about Mr. Combs' threat about making people go missing, and feared taking any action that could label her as a target. Despite Mr. Combs' violence, threats, and misogyny, Diddy Dirty Money experienced significant sales of records, selling 2 million copies of one single and 500,000 of another in the US. In Australia, 5 million single copies. And Ms. Richards' unpaid wages and royalties are estimated at $1.2 million. Ms. Richards' unpaid touring wages are estimated at over $350,000 for touring dates within the United States alone. How are we doing, guys? Everybody okay?
Oh, yeah, just great.
Yep, Dreadnought, you're right. Absolute, total F-pig. Yep. Yep. Next part. I'm sorry, I have to do the YouTuber thing. Please make sure you've liked this stream. It helps other people know that we're streaming. Please consider subscribing if you have not. It would mean a lot to me. I really appreciate it. We're going to keep going. In and around the summer of 2009, Ms. Richards and Ms. Harper were required by Mr. Combs to perform as part of Diddy Dirty Money and attend numerous promotional events, including late or overnight parties, all of which were under contract between Mr. Combs and, was it Surak Vodka? Is that how you say it, guys? Please correct me if I'm incorrect. The vodka company. Or between Mr. Combs and Diddy Beats pursuant to the Bad Boy Interscope record deal. Ms. Richard was never compensated for the extra time she spent fulfilling Combs' promotional contracts, including the vodka and the Diddy Beats campaign. Mr. Combs was paid approximately $250,000 per appearance, and Mr. Combs did not compensate Ms. Richard or Ms. Harper for these appearances, other than $5,000 each on a handful of occasions. Mr. Combs' ongoing explanation for withholding compensation was that their appearances were a requirement for their tour. Additionally, Ms. Richards was required to appear to promote Diddy Beats through parties, album songs, and videos. Over time, Mr. Combs was paid $6.25 million for the 25 shows that Ms. Richards was required to attend. Following each show, Ms. Richards and Ms. Harper approached Mr. Combs to inquire about their insufficient and sporadic payments. Mr. Combs routinely responded with statements such as, "You bees aren't grateful, and you don't want this." Ms. Richards estimated losses from the campaign promotions totaling at least $1.5 million in change upon information and belief Mr. Combs received in advance on Diddy Beats, for which Ms. Richard received no compensation. Here we go. Mr. Combs harasses and assaults Ms. Richards. Between approximately 2009 and 2011, throughout Diddy's Dirty Money recording process, rehearsals, and performances, Mr. Combs repeatedly ordered Ms. Richards to strip down to her underwear. He frequently referred to her as a B or a W and made demeaning remarks about her body, alternating calling her lazy, fat, ugly, skinny, particularly in front of his friends, producers, and bodyguards. I think he's right. It's Sirach. Sirach? Okay. My apologies. Mr. Combs frequently held meetings with Ms. Richards wearing only his underwear, despite Ms. Richards' protests and repeated requests for him to put on clothing. In response, Mr. Combs would call her a B and a W and reminded her that she should be grateful for the opportunity to be there. Often while recording in the studio, Mr. Combs would hold parties where he would invite young men and women who were often scantily dressed and appeared underage to use substances and engage in acts. Ms. Richards observed Mr. Combs and his colleagues kissing, groping, and inappropriately touching the young women. Upon information and belief, the participants often left the immediate area to have intercourse and returned shortly thereafter. On numerous occasions between 2009 and 2011, under the guise of preparing for performances, Mr. Combs would intrude into Ms. Richards' changing room at Daddy's house unannounced while Ms. Richards was undressed. Even though a female stylist was present and assisting Ms. Richards with her wardrobe, Mr. Combs would grope Ms. Richards' body, including her bum and her chest in the area near. I'm still have to be careful, guys. I'm sorry, community guidelines, but yeah. With no legitimate purpose and without Ms. Richards' consent, Mr. Combs caressed her buttocks to show the stylist where he wanted her high-waisted panties positioned, and attempted to touch her, claiming to show the stylist where he wanted her bra straps to go. When Mr. Combs would enter the changing room, Ms. Richard would cover her chest with her hands to prevent Mr. Combs from seeing or touching her. When Mr. Combs would touch her body, Ms. Richards would attempt to swat his hand away and state, "Don't touch me." Mr. Combs frequently smacked Ms. Richards' bare bum and often commented on her body, noting although she was too skinny, she had butt. Ignoring her visible and communicated discomfort, Mr. Combs persisted and continued to intrude when Ms. Richard was in a dressing room and continued to touch her bum and chest under the guise of showing the stylist what to do, and continued to smack her bum without consent. In or around October of 2010, Diddy Dirty Money performed in Glasgow, Scotland. Oh, here we go. This one's bad. Sorry, guys. Where Mr. Combs engaged in overt advances towards Ms. Richard. On numerous occasions when Ms. Richard exited the dressing room fully styled, Mr. Combs looked at her approvingly, smacked her bum while making comments such as, "You're looking good," "Okay, Don, okay," and "I see what this is," in a flirtatious tone, every time Ms. Richards moved away and asked him not to touch her. But Mr. Combs disregarded her protests. On their last night in Glasgow, Ms. Richards witnessed Mr. Combs and several other males having group intercourse with Mr. Combs' female assistant at the hotel pool. Ms. Richards immediately left and went to her hotel room. On the flight back to the United States the next day, Ms. Richards asked Mr. Combs where his assistant was. And Mr. Combs replied, "I don't give an F where that B is." Ms. Richards later learned that Mr. Combs had taken his assistant's passport with him to the United States, leaving the assistant stranded in the United Kingdom. Disgusting. Disgusting, and I hope whoever that female assistant is, that she gets some justice. Horrible. Horrible. In Glasgow, Ms. Harper confided in Ms. Richards that her husband and manager, Tony Vick, was abusive. After an especially severe assault, she confided in Ms. Richard that she wanted to leave Mr. Vick, and Ms. Richard helped her to plan her exit from the relationship. However, Ms. Harper and Mr. Vick reconciled, and both Mr. Combs and Mr. Vick, who had a close relationship, learned of Ms. Richards' role in helping Ms. Harper. Both Mr. Combs and Mr. Vick became noticeably distrustful of Ms. Richard, which exacerbated her fears of harm and reprisal. When Mr. Combs would require his Diddy Dirty Money bandmates to stay at his residence in Miami, Ms. Richard would barricade herself inside the room at night, placing heavy furniture against the door because she feared being harmed in her sleep. In or around late December of 2010, Ms. Richards and Ms. Harper and Ms. Ventura were in Mr. Combs' Los Angeles home when Mr. Combs stated, "I want to gift you fake boobs for Christmas." Mr. Combs reached out and cupped Ms. Richards' boobs without her permission and stated, "You're an A. I'm thinking a D." Ms. Richards recoiled in shock and left the room. Throughout the above-mentioned time period when Ms. Richards resisted Mr. Combs' advances, Mr. Combs retaliated by denying her singing parts in songs, removing her songs, refusing to allow her to sing in performances, and turning her microphone off during performances. Real mature. Sorry, it's so petty. Producer sister, are you all right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Just
stop. Yeah, it's
because the thing is that by turning her mic off, it just makes everything look unprofessional.
Yeah, you make everybody look stupid doing that. You make yourself look stupid.
To what end?
The more Ms. Richards rebuffed his advances, the more Mr. Combs' retaliatory behavior increased. All right. Next section. Mr. Combs assaults and falsely imprisons Ms. Richard. I hope you guys are understanding why I said there was no way I was going to be able to censor this, like fully. It's just not going to happen. In or around December of 2010, Diddy Dirty Money was preparing for an upcoming performance on SNL. As usual, rehearsals lasted for days without the opportunity to eat or rest, and the rehearsal schedule was unpredictable. After waiting all day for Mr. Combs to call or send a car, Ms. Richard received a phone call from Mr. Combs demanding, "Where the F are you bees? You bees don't want this. Y'all don't deserve to have someone pick you up. Get a cab." Ms. Richard and Ms. Harper immediately took a taxi to Sir Studios, and anxious because Mr. Combs sounded enraged. Upon their arrival at the studios, Mr. Combs and Harper were waiting for them in the lobby. Mr. Combs screamed obscenities at them. "Where the F were you bees? You bees don't want to win. You don't want this. I'm so tired of y'all." Ms. Richard noticed that the people in the lobby were reacting to Mr. Combs' tirade. Embarrassed, Ms. Richard asked Mr. Combs to stop swearing and calling them bees in front of everyone. Oh. Mr. Combs' facial expression shifted as he stepped towards Ms. Richard, raised his arm, and swung his fist towards her face. Believing that Mr. Combs was going to hit her, Ms. Richards braced for impact. Before Mr. Combs could strike her, Mr. Combs' bodyguard grabbed her and escorted her out of the studio and forced her into the Bad Boy Records Bentley that was parked outside. Ms. Harper ran after Ms. Richards, and Mr. Combs' bodyguard closed and locked the Bentley doors with both women inside. Inside the vehicle, Ms. Richards realized there were no interior door handles and that they were locked inside with no way to escape. Ms. Richards' belongings were in the studio, and she was able to call her father from Ms. Harper's cell phone. Ms. Richards relayed to her father what had happened and that she needed help and feared that she would go missing. Moments later, Combs' bodyguards removed only Ms. Harper from the Bentley, leaving Ms. Richard locked in the car alone for over 2 hours. Ms. Richard screamed as loudly as she could, but no one responded. It was late in the evening, in the wintertime. The windows were heavily tinted, and the interior of the car was dark except for faint interior lights. Ms. Richards' belongings and winter coat were in the studio, while the ignition was off and there was no heat. With Mr. Combs' prior threats and violence running through her mind, Ms. Richards felt sheer panic, terror, and feelings of claustrophobia at being locked in a small, dark, enclosed space with no way to communicate or call for help. She began to feel cold and feared for her life, not knowing when or if she would be released. Ms. Richards' father drove to New York from Baltimore and arrived at the studio approximately 2 hours later. Only after her father arrived and demanded to see her did Mr. Pierre order Mr. Combs' bodyguard to release Ms. Richards from the vehicle. Mr. Pierre ushered Ms. Richards' father between several rooms at Sir Studios, where he waited for approximately 2 hours before being able to confront Mr. Combs. Once Miss Richards' father expressed he intended to contact police, Mr. Combs warned him to think about your family and think about your daughter's career. Her father appeared visibly frightened by Mr. Combs' threats and actions, which in turn made Ms. Richards feel terrified for herself and her family's safety, which is why I see you in the chat, West 4B movement. This could very well be why. This could be why. I'm not saying it's right, but I don't know how much of this lawsuit you've heard, but we have established based on this that Diddy had hired police officers to be present at these parties where illegal activity was going on and nothing would happen. There was no consequence to Diddy. There never would be. And her life was at risk. Her family's life was at risk. It's really easy to judge people in these situations, but I don't know what this feels like. I don't know what that is like. So I'm willing to extend her a bit of grace, and I'm just happy that she has found the confidence to talk about this and to say anything. And I hope that she does make right and that she's able to back up Aubrey now. But these situations are so complicated, and I hope that makes sense. Thank you for being here, though. I don't think I've seen your name before, and I am glad to see you here. The next night, Diddy Dirty Money performed on SNL. Mr. Combs subsequently called Miss Richard, complimented her performance, and concluded with a threat. You don't call your dad unless you're in the hospital. All right. Unjust enrichment of defendants by breach of contract and or copyright infringement. As a member of Danity Kane, Ms. Richard had performed on over 15 songs and holds composition credits for more than 3. Defendants have failed to account or pay Ms. Richards as agreed for her compositions and her performances and have breached contracts and infringed her copyrights, all of which has unjustly enriched the defendants. As a member of Diddy Dirty Money, Ms. Richards has performances recorded on over 9 songs. Additionally, Ms. Richards has composition rights and credits on more than 5. Defendants have failed to account or pay Ms. Richards as agreed for her compositions and her performances, and breached contract and or infringed her copyrights, unjustly enriching the defendants. In 2020, Mr. Combs selected Ms. Richards for a reboot of Making the Band, and Ms. Richards spent hours preparing to be a judge on the new show. However, the COVID-19 pandemic halted those plans, and Ms. Richards was never compensated in any way. On or about July 1st of 2021, Mr. Combs and Bad Boy Holdings or both directed Janice Combs Publishing to assign its administration rights of Ms. Richards' songs. So here's the admin stuff. All this stuff that she did. You can see her name bolded here as a writer. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just going to double check here. Held from her tenure with defendants in the years of 2005 to 2012. To Sony Songs, a division of Sony Music Publishing. The assignment, signed by Ms. Richard on October 22nd of 2024, purported to credit through a semi-annual accounting. Ms. Richards' royalty for the account of Ms. Richards' compositions from between 80 to 90% of publisher share. However, no statements were provided, no payments were ever made, and no revisions nor assignments were ever recorded with the performing rights organizations or other royalty collecting entities by defendants or by Sony. Defendants who have wholly failed to account or pay Ms. Richards as agreed for her compositions and her performances in breach of the assignment have thereby infringed on her copyrights, resulting in the defendants being unjustly enriched. Sorry, I need to drink. My throat is like dying.
That must be a typo too.
Where?
The assignment signed by Ms. Richards on October 22nd, 2024.
Yeah.
A date that has not happened yet.
Yeah, that's a typo. Probably.
23? Or are we talking 12?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm sure that'll be corrected, but
Yeah.
it happens. This thing is 55 pages long.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. We're on page 27, by the way.
Oy, we're going to need a bear break soon.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of it in here that it goes over essentially what she's, like, serving him with, like, what the quote-unquote charges are.
I think we can surmise what most of that's going to be.
Yeah, I'll just read the titles of them. I don't think we need to rehash everything.
No.
Okay, so during the summer of 2023, Mr. Combs' new record company, Love Records Inc., tendered a contract negotiation for Ms. Richard for the song entitled Deliver Me, embodied as track 3 on the Love album Off the Grid, officially released on September 15th of 2023. This album, man, between Lil Rod and the Infamy, wow. Upon information and belief, Deliver Me sold well prior to Mr. Combs' legal troubles in November of 2023. Continuing to I know. I know. There's a little bit of that that's kind of shady. It's like, it did great. Until. Oh, gosh.
I don't mind that jab as much.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Continuing to the present, Ms. Richards sought to establish her rightful percentage as 21% composer on Deliver Me, and Mr. Combs personally called Ms. Richards and left a voicemail complaining about her fur requests. Please tell me you have the voicemail. I want to hear it.
Yes.
Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs directed his attorneys to avoid confirming these composition percentages on the song, and in fact list composers who played no part in composing the song. As a result, the contract was never signed by either Ms. Richards or Love Records Incorporated. Nevertheless, Ms. Richards obtained a copyright registration certificate on a timely basis, saying the registration lists /authors claimants as agreed when the song was created in 2009. That registration is filed separately in the court and supports Ms. Richards' claim of copyright infringement by defendants herein. Defendant Love Records Inc. and Mr. Combs infringed on Ms. Richards' copyrights in the composition of Deliver Me by releasing Deliver Me without Ms. Richards' permission and without compensation. Yeah. All right. So here are the causes of action and the damages. So as a result of the acts and conduct complained of therein, Ms. Richards has suffered and will continue to suffer the loss of income, wages, benefits, royalties, promotional fees, touring fees, and other compensation. Ms. Richard has also suffered, among other things, future pecuniary? Hope I said that right? Losses, emotional pain, suffering, inconvenience, loss of enjoyment of life, post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety disorder, insomnia, panic attacks, and other non-pecuniary losses, entitling her to an award of compensatory and punitive damages, injunctive and declaratory relief, attorney's fees and costs, and other remedies as this court may deem appropriate. So, basically, here's what we've got for the causes of action. First cause is the Violation of Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Act. And this just goes over the violence that has previously been detailed. Second cause of action is SA, to the California SA and Cover-Up Accountability Act. Third cause is forced labor. Fourth cause is violation of New York Services for Victims of Many Cars. Fifth is many cars under 18. Sixth is a violation of the California Many Cars Victims Protection Act. Seventh is assault under New York law. Eighth is battery/actual battery under New York law. Ninth is false imprisonment. 10th is false imprisonment under California. I guess the other one was New York, right? Yeah, New York and then Cali. We got 2. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. Sexual harassment, gender discrimination, and hostile work environment under New York State human rights. Second one for that as well. Retaliation in violation of New York State human rights law. That's the 14th. 15th is hostile work environment in violation of California Government Code. 16th is gender discrimination in violation of California Government Code. 17th is violation of right of publicity under New York civil rights law. 18th is copyright infringement. 19th is breach of contract. 20th is breach of implied covenant in good faith and fair dealing. 21st is fraud / international misrepresentation / false promise. And then she ends it this way. Prayer for relief on claims. Wherefore, Ms. Richards prays that this court enter judgment against defendants herein and any other defendants who may later be added to this action as follows. For a money judgment representing compensatory damages, including but not limited to consequential damages, lost wages, earning, royalties, publishing, touring, and promotional income, and non-economic damages, and all other sums of money together with these interests for the amounts of according to proof for a money judgment for mental pain and anguish and severe emotional distress according to proof, for restitution, for disgorgement of all sums unjustly obtained from plaintiff or inter to the benefit of the defendants, for civil penalties, for punitive damages or punitive and exemplary damages according to proof, for attorney's fees and costs, for pre-judgment and post-judgment interest, and for such other and further relief as the court may deem just and proper. So there has been a jury demand, and dated yesterday, New York, New York, and she's being represented by the Bloom firm, which is Lisa Bloom. You may have heard of her before. She's done a lot of high-profile cases. And that is the case. It's bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's really bad, guys. Really bad. And the thing is, just the fact that, okay, obvious, I feel like we've got the two, like, we have two sides of this case. We have just the absolute horrific amounts of trauma that Dawn has had to go through, as well as others. And then there is the financial aspect of this as well. I find it very interesting that it doesn't seem that Dawn was paid very well for any of this. And yet at the same time, Diddy was constantly going, you don't want this, you don't want to work, you don't want to do this, blah, blah, blah. She deserves her money.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some of this is, I hope she feels lighter today.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I hope she feels like a weight has been lifted, that she's been able to not only speak for herself, but been able to support, like, Cassie and others. And I'm very proud of her for doing that. This must have been terrifying to file and to put together.
But I feel like this is taking her power back.
Yes.
Getting her voice back.
Yes. I agree.
You don't control me anymore.
I agree. Okay. Okay, we got through it. We're going to go into halftime now. But there is the whole filing. Now, I'm going to let you guys know right now. I'm just going to do something quickly. If there's been a jump and you're just joining us, we have read through all of the document. At this time, we have not been flagged, which is a miracle.
Yeah.
If something does happen and I do have to trim this stream for whatever reason, the full unedited reading, and that's only if it's been cut. I'm hoping that it won't be, but if it is, it will be being put into my members only section. And the TMZ article will just remain. But that's probably the best thing that I can do. I see the requests for the Lacey cleanse. Yes, we will do that. I hope everybody's all right. I know that was rough. It was rough. Um, this is my third time going through it now, and I'm still not. I'm not doing super great. Okay. Um, but I thank you guys for sticking through it. We are still going to have more show. We're going to do our halftime. This is a good time if you want to say something, if you want to give me feedback, if you want to voice anything. I interact with my chat a lot, you know, super chat or not. I hear you, and I want to have this conversation. And we're also going to have our puppy palate cleansers because we need this. If this is your first time here, this is normal. I have two dogs. I have Lacey, who is always with me, and then I have Charlie. And I ask if they want to say hi to everybody. Lacey, do you want to say hi? And I let her tell me. The answer is yes. Because things suck, and sometimes what you need is a little puppy to help you feel better. So this is Lacey. Hey, hi, Lacey. Sometimes she burps. I don't know if she will today or not. But there she is. Yeah. I love everybody's just going, please bring us Lacey. She is here. She is here. Okay, Bear? You help people get through hard times. You help Mommy every day. But there is the Lacey. Yeah. You're hearing noises from upstairs. Yeah. I know. I needed her too. I see Melly. I needed this. I know I did too. I did too. Oh my gosh. But we also have someone else coming. And I do want to let you guys know there may be some noises coming from him because he's a very noisy dog. I've explained this many a time. He makes lots of noises. But Charlie is here too to say hi because it's that kind of a day. Charlie, do you want to say hi to everybody? This is my other one. This is my senior. This is my little old man. My little old man baby. He's very noisy, which is why he usually isn't in the office with us. Because he's very loud. Yeah, and you're very sleepy. Well, thank you. Thank you. And yes, if you're a member of this channel, there are Lacey and Charlie emojis. Thank you. Charlie makes a lot of noise. I know. I know. Do you have anything you want to say? Do you have anything you want to tell everybody? As we all heal after reading that traumatic document? Yeah. Here we go. Okay? Y'all good? You're gonna pass out. He's like so limp. He's like, ugh. Normally he sleeps. He sleeps a lot, guys. Like, probably 18 to 20 hours a day. Because he's an old man. Yeah, you wake up for cuddles and you wake up for food. Yep. That's about it. You don't really care about anything else. Alright, I'm gonna give you back to producer sister. Thank you. Okay. I hope you guys are feeling better. I feel better. After holding a puppy. Oh, producer sister, you gonna hold on to him?
Yeah, I'll hold him for now.
Okay, so you guys may hear him through producer sister's mic. Yep, exactly, Asher's mama. Dogs are just pure love, and sometimes that's what we need. We need the love. Oh, but I thought that one was really important to go through. And I originally had a whole other show planned for today, and then this broke. So that's fun. That's fun. Oh my gosh, Katie. Katie, you did not have to do that, Katie. Okay, I'm gonna say this. I will read your message in a second. Katie is, Katie has been affected by the fires, around where she lives. And I don't want to say too much. I know you've been open about it, Katie, so I don't want to, I don't want to say anything I shouldn't say. Yep. But
she's been open about the fact that she's near the fire.
Yeah. And we've been talking a lot over these past few days. There's been a lot of prayer, a lot of scary moments, and I'm just so happy that you're okay and that your family's okay. So she just said, thanks from my family for being praying angels. Prayer and positive thoughts don't just move mountains, they keep wildfires at bay. I can't put into words how much you've helped us stay calm. Thank you. This is a virtual hug. Thank you for always being here. Thank you for the work you do with this community. Katie and Linda, I love you both so much, and my mods, and you guys are incredible. Um, and I'm just so glad you guys are okay. And DVD just asked, it's Kim, whatever happened to the tornado on Monday? Thankfully, we were okay.
Yeah.
We did not have anything touch down super close to us. I will say I had one wicked migraine after, though, because it was one heck of a system. And I get affected by that stuff. It was, I felt it. But we are okay. We're okay. But I will say the notification I got on my phone of why I stopped the stream,
Yeah.
I have never seen that notification before, and it was telling me to immediately seek shelter. Like, go. And my head went to a friend of mine who, unfortunately, their home was struck by a tornado a number of years ago. And they got that notification while the first house on their street was hit. It almost came too late. Like, it was scary. And so all I'm thinking in my head is like, oh gosh, I have seconds. Like, I have seconds. And so I'm really thankful that that wasn't what happened. But that's why I made the decision that I did, and I hope that that is understandable. Just trying to catch up on the chat with you guys. Fan fiction. I don't think I've seen you before here. Thank you for being here. Just said thank you for your strength and your courage in reading that book. I'm so happy that you've landed on your feet. Thank you. I appreciate that. I love that. Reading that book is great. Oh goodness. Yep. So if you guys, want to pray for everybody right now being affected by those fires, positive thoughts, whatever it is you do in your faith system.
And I don't know if we have anybody who is close to where the hurricane's supposed to make landfall today as well.
Yes. Just, it's so hard. I hate seeing all this stuff right now. It's just bonkers. Steven Schwartz said, am I right in saying that you are an SA survivor, Kim? You are so brave in covering this. I hope this doesn't bring back any memories. Sending you a hug. Okay. I have been open about this. I am a survivor. Mine was in childhood. I was very young. And unfortunately, after that, I also had a number of other not great situations I was in. And a lot of grown-ups around me that were pathetic excuses of people. And so I have a disorder called CPTSD, which is complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Or according to the DCM-5, it's post-traumatic stress disorder with complex symptoms. Is the whole thing right now. But basically, that's when you have repetitive trauma, so it becomes complex trauma because it's not just like one thing that happens to you. Like, for example, like a car accident, this is just gonna keep going. And it did affect me through my development. So it is, for me, I think one of the things that bothers me so much when we talk about trauma disorders is people assume that it's all mental health, for lack of a better term, but it does affect you physically. I have a lot of physical issues because of my disorder. It's a domino effect, and it affects me every day. And years ago, I was like, I'm done. I didn't know what was wrong with me. My doctors didn't know what was wrong with me. I kind of just gave up. And I decided I didn't want to be here anymore. And I started planning that. And I ended up in hospital. My plan got found out. And that sent me on a whole new trajectory of figuring out what the heck was wrong with me. And I made the decision. Well, it wasn't a decision. I basically was in the hospital, and I just remember staring at the ceiling and just praying that if there was any way I was going to get out of this alive, that I would do something that would help other people. That there would essentially be like a purpose for what I went through. And I went through a number. I'm just hearing Charlie.
Sorry.
Is he just licking right now?
Yeah. And he's
Charlie,
making little noises.
Charlie, you're perfect. I, I went through a few years of absolute misery. It was awful. And at one of my lowest points, I really discovered YouTube. I discovered live streaming. I discovered popcorn, and my life changed. And I kind of found a lot of healing in sharing my story, but also being able to kind of give some context at points about certain things. So for me, being able to talk about this is a way for me that I kind of take my power back, because I will never get justice in my situation. It's never going to happen. And other situations close to me, I mean, I don't know. Some of them may. I don't know. And one day, if that happens, I will platform the people who have the power to do that. But there's a lot. There's a lot there. So that's kind of what all of that is. And I'm sorry to go off on a tangent with that. Thank you to Average Supreme, who's been a member for 12 months. You got your what? Yay! Okay, did I miss anything else? Because I'm trying. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Squeegee Beckenheim has been a member for 6 months. You are halfway to your 1. Thank you so much. And I believe we are still at the 5 gifted memberships from General Scott. Thank you so much. I so appreciate that. I'm just going to go back to my chat here and just check in with you guys. Let me see here. Yeah, DVD said barometric pressure does me in 2. Oh yeah, it's awful. And yes, Sarah B, I am still in Canada. We did not go to Oz. I was seeing some jokes about that. I'm like, no, we're still here. We're still here. Let me see here. Yeah, I have not, Carrie, I have not seen Get Him to the Greek. But I have heard things. I don't know if I want to watch a movie now with Russell Brand and Diddy.
Ooh.
I have feelings about that. I don't know. Let me see here. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for all the support to everybody here. Yeah, it's the tornado thing was scary. I'm sorry about all that, guys. I didn't want that to be like a whole thing, but I didn't know what else to do.
Snowstorms, all that, we're used to that. Like, bring it on.
Yeah.
Tornadoes, not so much. We don't really get those here.
Is it Dell's Depot? I don't think I've seen you either. Hello, welcome. It's good to see you. My sister has a rescue dog that she got to help her cope after my brother-in-law passed away. I'm sorry to hear that. Her name is Ruby, and she makes snoring noises when she breathes. The dog, not my sister. Charlie. Charlie is the loudest snorer in this house.
Yep.
No competition. None. Let me see here. Oh, Melier just said, same, it's Kim. A lot of adults in my family failed me. My siblings, my cousins, it took my father's death to make me realize that if I didn't help myself, I'd be following him. Therapy helped me a lot to heal. Therapy is good. If you can do it, do therapy. Do therapy. And I will say, I have had some people contact me and be like, what did you do through your healing process? I think it is incredibly important that when you're looking for a therapist, that you get a trauma-informed therapist. Because there's a lot of like types of therapy that are not helpful to people that have trauma disorders. It is not as simple. There's a lot of people that just go do CBT. No. There's a lot of people that do not find that to be helpful. So it's just making sure you got the right team of people. And I know it's hard, but definitely consider that if you are looking to talk to somebody. Asher's mama said, I also have CPTSD, so I understand sending lots of love. Yep. It's a sucky club that nobody wants to be a part of, but we're here. We can see. Jennifer just said, thank you, Kim. I struggled as well with PTSD and I almost ended it, but I had an angel who randomly reached out right before I did so. Thank you for that, Kim. You do help me as well. I'm glad I do. I love you too. I love you too. Thank you. I really do hope you're doing okay. Carbonized just said talking about what happened to me not only helps me process it, but hopefully will be a cautionary tale for others, a positive out of the negativity of PTSD. Yep, it's true. It's true. There is a level that talking about it helps. And like I just saw Stevens just said, I'm sorry I made you unhappy by asking that question. You're nothing more than the utter legend. You're not making me unhappy. You're not making me unhappy. This is a part of like this is a part of my life now, right? Like I have a lot of chronic pain on a daily basis. Part of that like misery that I was in for years was that I there were days I just couldn't get up because I had so much pain. I couldn't stand. I could barely sit up. And being able to talk about it and be validated, it helps. We covered a story, I guess it was earlier this year, or was it last year? I can't remember. The Ruby Frankie case, with Jody Hildebrandt. And one of the people that was in the midst of all of that was a gentleman named Adam Paul Steed, who had called out the Mormon church. He was a whistleblower. And Jody had just absolutely tortured this man. And one of the things that he said in an interview that I saw with him was that when he was in court and he was believed and he was validated, that's a part of what makes the crazy go away. I'm paraphrasing, but that was basically what he said, if I remember correctly. And I remember that really stuck out to me. And I'm like, no, because there is power in you talking about these things and being validated and people understanding you. That's huge. That's huge. So it's like, I think that it's really important. And so it does help me. So I'm not unhappy at all. I'm not happy at all. It's hard to talk about, but I'm okay. I'm okay. Producer sister, can you like just back me up on that? Just so people know like I'm okay.
No, this is a discussion we have had both as a family and you with your therapist of just like I said before with Dawn taking back her power. This has been a way for you to take back your power, to give it a voice, to give it a purpose, to do something with this situation and try to make good out of a horrid thing. We don't all have the same ways of getting justice, accountability, all those kind of things. Sometimes they aren't the way we want them to be, but we can find other ways.
Charlie? Is he like still kissy?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He's been back and forth.
Yeah. Sorry.
He's sitting in front of me on the desk.
Yeah. I'm sorry to anybody that has issues with hearing like moisture sounds. I'm sure that must be very irritating. The Nerd Eye Dragon said your story of the tornado hit home. I have a literal phobia. I got stuck in one of my mom's cars. That's terrifying. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. That sounds awful. That sounds awful. Melia said 100% Kim. It took me 3 years to find my therapist. It's tough. It's tough. I lucked out, in all honesty. Let me see here. Yeah, Jackie Swan said I had a very good therapist. She was a trauma specialist of the first degree and helped me out so much. Yup. Yes. Yes. There we go. Okay. Just reading. Catching up. Thank you for the kind messages, you guys. I appreciate that. General Scott, I didn't know the dog was in Producer Sister's laugh. I would have thought that was ItsKim. Do I snort that much, guys?
It's not me.
Do I snort that much? Oh my goodness. Yeah. Melier said, speaking and talking about it helps me heal 100%, which is why this community is amazing. You sense the comfort and safety in talking about it. It's not common to find on YouTube. You did great, Kim. Well, thank you very much. Aria's like, let's go to Candy Mountain. Keeps popping in my... I mean, that's part of... I don't know if I've told you guys, that's part of why we actually did name him Charlie. Yeah. Because when he joined our family, he was going through a lot. We're not his first owners. And we kept trying to get him like excited about life and just being like, it's okay, come on Charlie, we're gonna go for a walk, we're gonna go do this, come on Charlie. And after a while we were just kind of like we were talking like that, and then we were reminded of the Charlie, of the Candy Mountain, Charlie. We're gonna go on an adventure. We're gonna go on an adventure, Charlie. And yeah, that was part of it. That was part of it. Oh gosh. Let me see here. Yeah, those sounds were a dog. Thought it was producer sister.
No.
Steven said, no, it's the dog. Oh, Wancho, hi. He said, I hate my job. I missed almost the whole stream. Dude, it was a lot. It was a lot. It was. This lawsuit is a mess. It's bad. It's bad. Oh, Kyle, just the first day at the mental health clinic, I broke down and the floodgates were wide open. That. I'm so happy you went. And I'm so sorry that, you know, whatever you've been through that puts you in that place. If it's any comfort whatsoever, I can tell you I have heard from multiple people that is their experience the first time they go for mental health help. I actually have a friend that she was not able to like talk at all, so she ended up going into art therapy because she was so like legit. So I'm laughing because it's like a lot, and that's part of like a coping mechanism I do. I'm not laughing like it's funny, but she was genuinely so traumatized, like putting it into sentences was not possible. So it sucks. It sucks.
And sometimes you need to, for lack of a better word, break to rebuild.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I've had a few people I've seen. Yeah, that was actually crazy. I a couple of weeks ago when our family member passed away, we had a few members of our extended family come and stay with us. And one of the members of my extended family, I hadn't seen him in years. And he just said to me, he's like, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but he's like, you are nothing like the person I remember. You were nothing like her. And I'm like, yeah, I had to kill her. She's not here. She did. Like, I'm a different person now. Completely different person.
She can't come to the phone.
She did. Yeah, it's a lot. Let me see here. Yeah, Wancho just said art therapy is so cool. It's been really helpful. Aw. You guys are wonderful. Oh, okay. I think we're about caught up.
Oh, Wancho had one other comment before.
Before? Wancho? Candy Mountain?
No, about...
Oh, may I share about the charity stream I'm doing Saturday? Absolutely, go for it. Wancho, I know you're doing a charity stream Saturday with the Ravens flock, I believe. If you want to share about that in the chat, please go ahead. Please go ahead. If I don't know if you have like a link to the stream yet or anything. If you want to share it in the chat, you're welcome to do so. Yeah, Wancho, I think Taylor Swift did a song about that, but I can't be too sure. Her music is so obscure. I know. Oddly enough, actually, she was originally going to be the topic of the show today. Because that tweet from Elon Musk sent me, I was done. Like...
Oh, there's AI images now.
Of what?
Of their little family.
Ew, stop!
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Oh my gosh. Okay, for those of you that don't know, and I don't want things to get political in here because honestly it has nothing to do with whatever candidate in the United States somebody is supporting. Taylor Swift voiced her support of a candidate last night, and she signed her message saying that she was a childless cat lady. And Elon Musk decided to respond to that and said, I will give you a baby.
He said, fine, Taylor, ... you win, ... I will give you a child and guard your cats with my life.
Ooh. As a fellow childless woman, ew. If I say I don't have kids, the answer is not someone put a baby in me. I don't want that. Ew. Just ew. No. This is not a problem that needs to be fixed. This is a choice and it's gross. And bluntly put, I'm really sorry. And I'm not trying to like physically shame nobody, but like Travis Kelce. Elon Musk. The man that already has 12 children and is currently in like a custody battle with one of his mothers because, like, was it Grimes that she can't see their kids?
I don't even know.
It's a whole mess. It's a whole mess. And then... It's so gross. It was so uncomfortable. And I was like, no, 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 no. Ew. I reject it. I reject it.
She was not asking you to solve a problem.
The nerd-eyed dragon. Why would she breed with that? Like, I don't... I'm sorry. This woman has options. If she wanted to have a kid, she could. Like, she could literally do any option she wanted. I can't. I can't. Thank you, Wancho, for sharing that chat. I appreciate it. Ugh. Sorry.
So the stream is Saturday night at 8 p.m. They're doing a gaming charity stream, and it is raising money for veterans' mental health. So.
Oh my gosh, like over 20 people left. I'm sorry. I'm not a fan of somebody telling a woman that she needs to have a baby put in her. It's gross. I don't like it. I don't like it. Ew. Okay, sorry. Just making sure I got everything together. Ah. Sorry. Phone just went off. Everything okay? Oh, thank you, Stephen, for the PayPal. That's very kind of you. I appreciate that, you guys. Thank you. Thank you, Stephen. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, if you do want to support the stream, there are ways that you can do that. You can gift memberships. You can send in super chats if you want. You can send in a super sticker. You can support the PayPal. Or you can just like the stream, subscribe, leave a comment, participate in the chat, all those good things. They all matter. They're all engagement. It's all good. Okay, so we do have a What the What. We have been going for almost 2 hours. My goodness. Do we want to do a What the What? I'm going to do a poll. Okay? Because if not, we can save the What the What. So I'm just putting What the What, yes or no. Let me know what you guys think, and we'll go from there. Or we can just kind of chill for a little bit still and just talk. All that good stuff, let me know. Carnice just said, Kim, my son keeps telling me I have to give him a brother named Ethan. Trying to deal with that one. That's so specific. It must be a brother. And you must name him Ethan. Why Ethan? Why Ethan? Okay, let me see here. I cannot believe we're still monetized. This is bonkers.
I will never understand this.
Nope.
Because the ones I think we're gonna get hit, we don't, and the ones I'm like, why? When we do, it's so bizarre.
Yep. Okay. All right. You guys are very clear. We want a What the What. One person I think voted no. One person. Okay, I hear you. All right. Producer sister.
Yeah.
Are you good to do a What the What?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Just double checking. All right, we're all good. We're good. Okay. Okay. Let's do this. Let's do it. Let's do it. I gotta cue it up. Oh, man. That was a lot, though. That whole, but I hope you guys understand why I was like, I can't censor this. I can't make this into, like, my slideshow format and being like, here are all the trigger warnings and everything, because just the whole thing is just a walking, you know.
There isn't a part that's not a trigger warning.
It's a grenade. Like, it's just the whole thing. The whole thing. Kyle just said I have a brother named Ethan and I don't want any more siblings. Hi, Ethan. Oh, gosh. Okay. All right, let's see. Let's see. Alrighty. Producer sister.
Yeah.
Do you want to introduce this to everybody?
This one's just a punny thing.
A punny thing?
A punny thing.
Oh gosh.
Yep.
Okay. Puns are good. Puns are good. Clever and funny boat names to make the whole harbor laugh. I'm on a boat. I'm not on a boat, but you know. Take a good hard look at the boat. Oh, that was my ringtone in high school. It was.
I remember.
I bought it. It was the censored version because I didn't want to get suspended, but it was funny. It was great. Whenever anyone goes, I'm on a boat, just from my backpack. I'm like, yes. I was so cool in high school, guys. Believe it or not. Okay. A good sense of humor. Unsinkable the second.
I would like to know what happened to Unsinkable the first.
Unsinkable the second. This is ridiculous. Oh my gosh. Ugh. If you are just joining us, we went through the whole Diddy lawsuit. It's earlier in the stream. We're now having a palate cleanser because
we need it.
It's a lot. It's a lot, and we voted on it as a community, and everybody just wanted to laugh. So this is what we're doing. Okay. Okay. Oh. Now that's a funny boat name. Zombies can't swim. Is this like the... Is that like canon? I'm not really into my zombie knowledge that much. Let me know, any of you guys that are. One for the Dad Jokes collection. Usain Boat.
It's fast.
It doesn't look like a very big boat.
It really doesn't. I like the one next to it is cool.
Cool? Usain Boat and cool.
Or maybe not.
What does it say? Cool? I would have laughed if it was Cool Runnings.
Yes, that
it should have been
awesome.
Cool Runnings underneath it. Yeah, Project Metal Music, Boaty McBoatface. Yes, we all remember. One of the best named boats I've ever seen. Pug Boat. Yay! Oh, look at all of them. Oh, that's a happy boat.
That's a fun boat.
That's a fun boat. There's a lot of snorting on that boat.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we wondered if Charlie was part pug. He's not. We got him tested. Thinking ahead. Oh gosh. Uh-oh, and it's upside down. Guys, come on.
They're prepared.
And you know too, like it's like on a car or something. Like, can you imagine driving down the highway and seeing that?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I just cry. Okay, Wancho, yep, it's true. Zombies have crappy motor control, so they can swim well. They can't swim well. Well, there you go. I learned something today. My neighbor's boat name. Bearer 404 Fish Not. Stop! Oh my gosh. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Titanic 2, what can you expect? It's
going down.
It's going down. We're yelling timber. Stop. I work at a marina and the pharmacist brought his boat in for inspection.
Substance money?
Substance money! Substance money. I mean, at least he's honest.
Yep.
At least he's honest.
It's true.
Katie, stop naming boats Titanic.
It's true.
I've never understood that. Why? Sarah B, I'll never let go. Except twice.
Move over, there's room on the door.
Oh. No more Titanics. It doesn't end well.
Nope.
It doesn't end well.
Never.
Oh. The Ocean Gate flashbacks. Oh, mess. Gosh. Oh, gosh. Make it stop. Okay. When you ask your girlfriend to name the boat, not sure. That's a good pun. That's a good pun. I like that. That's fun. Oh my gosh. Siblings must own these boats. Would to Would not. All right.
Would do, would not, would do, would not.
Are we all fighting about the door now? About Titanic? There have been like experiments, guys. This is obsession with the door. Where are you, honey? In a meeting. Call back. In a meeting. Good times. Good times. I like in a meeting. I like in a meeting. That's awesome. Ugh. I'm tired of your bullshit. A poll on the door. We want a poll on the door? Oh my gosh. I'm listening. I listen to you all. There we go. Make your voice heard. Could Jack and Rose both fit on the door? Charlie. My dad named his boat Breaking Bass. Iconic. Iconic. I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse. The Godfather. Boo. Boo. Oh my gosh. I love how you guys are like so obsessed with this. Hello, Lynn. It's good to see you. Oh my gosh. Oh, Steven Schwartz, what would you name your boats, Kim and producer sister? I don't know.
Oh.
I mean, I guess like it's very unoriginal, but the Bodie McBoatface I've always loved. I love Bodie McBoatface. I probably would come up with something stupid like that. Like it would be redundant and dumb and funny. All right. You must take your vitamins, vitamin C. Oh, that's cute. I like that one.
That one's cute.
I like that. That's really cute. Did you? What does that even bring?
Okay.
Did you bring beer along?
Yes.
Did you bring beer along?
Yeah.
I think maybe you don't need any more.
Yeah, I think
that's a little slurred.
Maybe stop.
Maybe you need to stop. And maybe you shouldn't be driving a boat.
You need a Diddy.
You guys are so opinionated on this. Oh my gosh. But yeah, feel free. Share what you would name a boat.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know. It's part of life. Ship happens. I mean, the ship did happen. It's there.
Yep. It has appeared.
That's good. But he has a boat. She got the house. Why do I get the feeling that the boat was originally named after her and then they split up? So he just renamed it She Got the House?
Yep.
That's the I don't know if that's true or not, but I want to believe that it is. Oh, Jackie Swanson, mine would be Get Me Off. Oh gosh, that's good. My dad coming up with a see ya to name the boat was pretty clever. See is cute. That is cute. I like that. It's time indeed. A boat time. A boat time. Do I sound like I say a boat when I say about?
I don't think we do.
I don't know. Let me know. How present is my Canadian accent? Okay. Lacey's got to get down on the floor. I don't know what she needs. But... Just let her down. When you tell everybody you're fine, no worries.
You may have a few.
That's good. That's good. Oh, Squeegee just said there is a PO in Washington State called Ship Happens. We get us our order sent there. That's cute. That's cute. Pearl Chan, nope, would be my boat name. Nope. Nope. Took a few years, but the boat finally has a name. What are you looking at? Boo. 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 Some of you guys are like, Kyle said we don't say a boat. And that's the thing. It's a boat, a boot, and a bout. And I've had people say that they all sound exactly the same, and I'm like,
No, they don't.
I don't think they do. Well, thank you, Lacey, for burping on the floor. Thank you. Are you okay? She's like, we've been here for 2 hours. I'm done. Saw 2 separately owned boats in a marina, and the harbor master didn't realize what he had done until I mentioned it. Oh, Tom's Cruise and Tom Cruise. That's good. That's good. Oh, the Nerd Eye Dragon said, holy ship. I love that. That's awesome. We all make mistakes. Some may not be mistakes after all. Favorite mistake. Oh, that's funny. That's good. I can't afford illusion. Reality illusion. That's cute. That is cute. Lace, do you want to get back up? Okay. Okay. My friend just put the name on his boat. Yeah, boy. Oh, that's good. That's good. I like that one. Oh, that's funny. Okay, I am checking in on the poll, guys. We are sitting at 80% of you think that Jack and Rose could have both been on the door, and 20% of you... Nope. 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 Bye, Jack. Bye-bye, Jack. Alright. I love creative boat name. High Seas! Oh, I like that! I like that. That's good.
Cheryl said nacho
Nacho boat! These are good. You guys are good.
Mm-hmm.
Simple but effective. Just add wind. Oh, but I would just add water.
Yeah.
I would probably do water. Yeah. My friend's name is Gray. This is what he named his boat. 50 Shades of Me. Stop. That's good. That's good. Respect, Gray. Respect. That must have been so annoying when that all came out. Like, how, like, probably was inescapable. Embrace it and make fun of it. Yep. 100%. Peer pressure! It's hard to resist. That's good. That's good. Oh, I like that. I love just looking over and you guys are just laughing. I'm like, yay! It's working! Alright. Great sailboats. Kids' inheritance! It's your money. It's your money. The reality after buying a boat. Going broke! Yep. Yep. That's the thing. Like, I love the water. I do, but like I've heard boats are just so expensive. So expensive. But there's a for sale sign. Not for sale.
I'm confused.
I am confusion. I am confusion. Oh, General Scott, that's good. Aquaholic. I like that. That's good.
Yep.
I'm a fan. A witty boat name. Seize the day. I like that. That's cute too. That's good. You better get used to sleeping on this boat. She'll get over it.
I don't think she will.
I don't know if she will. I don't think that's gonna help either.
Nope.
You might not need to change that one till she got the house. It's not gonna go well.
Or you two might get along.
Yeah. The boat has been properly named Quarter Life Crisis.
I want to know who at Quarter Life can afford the
Who
boat.
at Quarter Life was able to afford a boat? I saw a thing the other day that it's like people our age, like we don't get to have a midlife crisis. Our whole lives have been a crisis. It's been non-stop crisis. Yay. Yay. Clever name for a fishing boat. Rodfather. Ah. We had the Codfather, now we have the Rodfather. There we go. Well, at least he has a boat. Empty pockets. Guys, if you have to name your boat like Going Broke or Empty Pockets, maybe you shouldn't get a boat. Just, maybe it's a bad idea. Oh. Double checking. Everything okay, producer sister?
Yeah.
Okay.
Charlie's trying to walk on the keyboard.
Oh, Charlie, no. We don't walk on keyboards. Puntastic. Alone at last. Exactly. If you have to keep making these financial puns, maybe you shouldn't have a boat. Maybe. Boat naming for the win. Harambe McBoatface.
Yes!
They won.
This was my favorite.
You won. You won. You won the internet. It's done. It's over. I feel like Harambe is one of those things we're never going to be able to explain. Like, if you weren't there, how do you explain Harambe?
I don't know.
How do you... Because it's like, everyone I've ever heard, like, they try to explain it, they get, like, so sad immediately, like, so sad. And we're like, yeah, but it kind of turned into a joke. It's like, but it's not funny. I'm like, it's... I don't know. You had to be there. You had to be there. It was so weird. Ugh. Okay. There we go. There's the What the What. Oh, that was well needed. That was so good. Thank you so much, Producer Sister. Can we get some love in the chat for Producer Sister? So appreciated. Thank you very much. And now we are in last call. So this is your last opportunity for the stream to say things that you want to say, send in any support you want to send in, all that stuff. So it's, I'm sorry, I just saw a weird message. Anyway, all good. Okay. Yeah, so anything you guys want to say, now's the time, all that good stuff. And, yeah, thank you guys so much for sticking through with me this stream. I know this has been a lot. And, I am happy that we are, that we got through it. Because it was a lot, and I'm tired. Oh gosh. Okay, General Scott, I'll do it for you. I'll do it for you. With Diddy having all these lawsuits he's about to have.
Insufficient funds. You ain't got no money. Ooh.
Yep. Because the other thing too, and we really didn't get to go over it today because there's been so much, Diddy had a judgment made against him in a civil suit where apparently now he owes a guy who's in prison $100 million. And I'm trying to find out what all is going on with that because the whole thing is just absolutely bizarre. And it looked like a default judgment because he didn't respond to the request. But his lawyers are saying they're going to fight it now, so we'll see what happens. I'll let you guys know what happens, but it's just the whole thing is just so bonkers. So bonkers. Oh, thank you so much, Jackie Swan, for gifting 5 memberships. That's wonderful. That means we are at 10 gifted memberships today. Thank you very, very much. You guys are awesome. I think we are going to wind down. My goodness. Oh, shout out to Kimberly in Japan. Yeah. Whenever you see this, hello. Oh, the Nerd Eye Dragon said, this was a great first time live for me. Awesome content. Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you liked it. I'm so glad that you're here.
And Lynn just said it was her first time.
Oh, Lynn too? Thank you guys. I'm so happy that you're here. I usually do this twice a week at least. We are working on boosting our content and putting more stuff out. So it's, you know, we're figuring it all out, but definitely make sure you sub, hit that notification bell, and you'll be notified when I go live, all those good things. But it's usually Monday, Wednesday afternoon. But I let you guys know if anything changes. I usually send out a community post, or you can follow me on Instagram, which is also through my link tree, and I usually put updates there as well, whatever works best for you. So we're going to roll the outro. Much love to all of you. Thank you guys so much for being here. I will talk to you all very soon. And have a great day, guys. Much love. Bye.